Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about your body is the temple of God. Now normally on Fridays I do a podcast episode, but today we're going to go ahead and talk about this because my guest had to reschedule. So let's go ahead and get talking about it. There's 4 categories under the main category today that we're going to be talking about of your body is the temple of God. So the first category we're going to be talking about is thoughts. So your thoughts create your life. The things that you think turn into who you are. So this is the very first thing we're going to be talking about in association with your body being the temple of God. So, under this primary category, we have subcategories, and the first one is pure thoughts. It's easy to let your mind run wild. A lot of people don't control their thinking, right? They let themselves think about things that they shouldn't think about, or maybe they allow themselves to have ill feelings towards other people, or they're allowing themselves to think things that are not helpful, that are not conducive to their success. And so if your body is the temple of God and your thoughts control your actions and your thoughts lead to all sorts of different things in your life, then in order to keep that temple clean, the very first place that you should go is your thinking. Right? Marcus Aurelius said that the quality of a person's life depends on the quality of their thinking, the Greek philosopher. And that's 100% true. In fact, it's absolutely true. So, by purifying our thoughts, we purify our lives. By making the fountain pure, all will be pure, as it's said in As a Man Thinketh. My favorite book of all time. I'll grab it for you right here and just show you. As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, this little book right here can completely change your life. This book was written, I believe, in the 1800s or 1900s. I'd have to go look. It's pretty old. It's a pretty old book, but in here he talks about how if you make the fountain pure, then all will be pure. In other words, if you make your thoughts pure, your entire life is going to be pure and clean. So it starts with your thinking. A lot of people have their mind in the gutter, as we call it. They're thinking of all kinds of things. Not only do they allow themselves to think about things that aren't helpful, but they also allow themselves to just have all sorts of wasteful thoughts, like fear of the future, judgment of themselves, self-condemnation, anxiety, right? They judge other people as well. They judge other people's choices. And through that process of keeping their mind in the gutter, their life sucks. Right? They don't feel joy. They don't feel peace because they're living in a very low quality of thought. And everything in this world works based on vibration and frequency. So if you're tuning yourself to a frequency where all these negative things, you're thinking about these things all the time, your life is going to suck. There's no way of getting around it. But if you tune yourself to a certain frequency, where you choose to see the good in other people, where you choose to have faith, where you choose to think a good quality level of thoughts each and every day, your life is going to be beautiful. So through the process of changing your thinking, you change your entire life. Everything about your life changes when you change your thoughts. So purity in thinking is the beginning. It's the first step in a pure life. If you want to have a good life, start with your thoughts. Your thoughts make up who you are. You literally are your thoughts. It's like what C.S. Lewis said, we are what we believe we are. Our thoughts and our beliefs are like connected together so intimately that they're inseparable. So if you change your thoughts, you're going to change your beliefs. And who you believe that you are is who you actually are as a person. As a man thinketh, so is he. Or to be perfectly accurate, the actual statement is, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. But your thoughts in your mind and your thoughts in your heart are both equally as powerful. In fact, your heart, science is now proving, they call it the little brain in the heart. In other words, there's a mind inside of your heart. All the circuitry, all the neurons, just exactly like inside of your brain, how there's neurons and neural networks, there's also neural networks inside of your heart. So your heart is like a mind. So by changing your thoughts, by changing your feelings, by changing what you believe in your heart, in your mind, you change everything about your life. It's connecting directly to the source, the highest principle or law that governs your entire life when you change your thinking. So purity in thought leads to a pure life. Pretty simple. Okay, imagination. A lot of people don't use their imagination. They go through life and they literally have this gift from God called their imagination, and they say stuff like, oh, that kid has a wild imagination. They demonize imagination. They use the word as if it's bad to have imagination. But I'm here to tell you that your imagination is a gift from God. He wants you to use your imagination in constructive and beautiful ways. But people, they don't control that, right? This is under the category of thoughts. In order to have pure thoughts, it's not just like thinking, okay, do I like this person? And you're like, oh, I don't like this person, right? That's a kind of thinking. Another kind of thinking is mental images. And the mental images that you hold about yourself and about other people mold and shape your life. You're the one that's able to control the way that you perceive yourself and other people through mental imagery. Not only yourself and other people, but you can use your imagination to come up with new ideas, to invent things, to help change the world, to better the world, to really improve people's lives with your imagination. But people demonize the imagination in today's world. Kids are told that they have a wild imagination, and it's almost like a bad thing. And I'm here to tell you it's not. It's a gift from God. And learning how to control your imagination is something God wants us to do. He doesn't want us to have negative mental imagery about ourselves and others. He wants us to use our imagination to have constructive mental imagery about ourselves and others, and also to create, to build. God created this life. He created everything that we see. So we have that same power to create with our minds. It's a gift from God. It's actually very, very, very cool that we have that gift to create that God also has himself. He can create, he can invent, he can build. We can too. It's a gift. So the imagination is under the category of thoughts because it's just a different type of thinking, right? You've got thoughts where you're like, okay, it's kind of like audible thinking, where you're like, I don't like this person, or I do like this person, or what should I eat today? Audible thinking. And then there's mental imagery. And mental imagery is a different type of thinking that's just as powerful, if not more powerful, as audible thinking. And that type of thought that you choose to carry will determine your life. It's going to change everything about you. And if your body is the temple of God, then your thoughts both mental images and thoughts like audible thoughts should be controlled. You should not let those things run wild. It's bad to do that. Yet it's most commonly people don't have discipline in this area. Why? Because it's hard. It takes practice. It takes time to learn how to control your thinking. And most people are lazy and they don't care. So they live their whole life without learning how to control their thoughts and their mental images that they hold in their mind. Okay, the next one is thoughts lead to deeds. So thoughts lead to your deeds. In other words, like I said earlier, if you have bad thoughts about other people, you're going to start treating them badly. If you have good thoughts about other people, you're going to treat them good. So it starts in your thinking. That's the first place. That's where the seed is planted. And then the fruition of those thoughts turn into actions. And those actions turn into consequences. And those consequences are either good or bad. But it starts with your thoughts. So if you want to live a happy, healthy life, choose to think positively about yourself and others. Not only about other people and yourself, but also life. Right? Choose to be grateful. Choose to have awe and wonder for the beauty of life, because it's everywhere. Life is a beautiful creation that we're all taking part in, and we're all gifted with this wonderful gift of life. And a lot of people choose to have a negative mindset. They allow, because it's easier, right? It's easier to have that, at least at the start. Long term, it's always better to have a positive mindset. But at the start, it's easier to have a negative mindset until you have the self-discipline. Once you have the self-discipline, you wonder why you'd ever have a bad mindset, because you're like, that's completely useless to think like that. That's stupid. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of mental energy. Why would I think like that? That's how it feels once you've established yourself inside of a positive perspective about life and other people and life in general, right? But before that point, it's hard to think positively. You have to train yourself to do this. So yeah, you can either choose to have a positive perspective or a negative perspective. If you have a positive perspective, you're going to have positive actions, you're going to have a positive life. If you have negative perspective, the opposite is true. So yeah, under thoughts, you need to have pure thoughts, control your thinking. And imagination includes that, but imagination is also creation. So you can create, you can build, you can invent, you can serve, you can write stories, write music, plays, whatever your thing is with your imagination. So that's powerful. And then thoughts lead to deeds. So if you want to have a good life, then change your thinking, because that's going to change your actions. And last but not least, under thoughts, we have clean slate. So if your body is a temple of God, you need to have a clean slate. And I'm not just talking about controlling your thoughts in purity. I'm talking about actually washing clean. Because there's the daily discipline of controlling your thoughts, and then there's the daily discipline of emptying your mind so that it's clean. And emptying your mind gives place for God to enter. But if your mind is full of all these other things, if you're thinking about 30 different things at once, if you're just in this crazy state, then what happens? Well, your slate is not clean. You have a dirty mind. And I'm not talking about dirty in the sense of like dirty jokes or something. I'm talking like dirty, like it's just packed full of stuff. It's cluttered. There's too much. So you have to clean your slate, right? Prayer, meditation, go outside, be in nature. Let all those thoughts leave so that you have a fresh, clean slate. Then you can actually get to thinking clearly, and you can actually get to be able to think accurately and to be able to think clearly, like I said, but also a clean slate allows you to think at all, because if you're thinking about 2 or 3 things at once, you can't think. So you need to have a clean slate in order to effectively use your mind. It can't be full of a bunch of stuff. Okay, so that's under thoughts. Pure thoughts, use your imagination for good. Thoughts lead to deeds. So again, control your thinking. And clean slate. Go out in nature, meditate, pray. Do things that clean the slate so that you don't have a bunch of thoughts going on in your mind. So you can actually think. Because if you've got a bunch of stuff going on, you can't think of anything, I promise you that. And you're going to make really bad decisions too. If you're thinking about a bunch of stuff, you're going to make terrible decisions. Okay, so that's under thoughts. All right, after that, we've got speech. So again, your body is the temple of God. So your speech is important. You're a vessel of God's Spirit. And controlling what you say is going to control how you feel about yourself, your subconscious mind, other people's subconscious minds. Like, for example, if you believe in yourself and you're confident and you're courageous, and people can hear that in your vocal, like the things that you say, as well as your vocal tonalities, that will be imprinted upon your subconscious mind and the subconscious minds of people around you. In other words, if you choose to speak confidently, if you choose to be confident in your speech, then other people will be imprinted into their minds of that confidence, and their confidence will increase too. It's called mental induction. So any mental state that you yourself hold will be induced into other people, and every action has an opposite and or equal reaction. So if you're in a confident state, other people are either going to become equal to that, where they're confident now as well, or they're going to have the opposite reaction, where they're going to be mad at you, they're going to hate you, or whatever, because of your confidence. So through speech, we can literally imprint confidence into other people's minds through your own confidence. But also, like this, right? If somebody comes up to me and compliments me, that is received into my subconscious mind, and I believe it to be true. You can obviously reject things that people say to you, but your speech is powerful. If somebody comes up to you and they're kind to you, and it's genuine kindness, that's going to be imprinted on your subconscious mind, and you're going to start to view the world from that perspective. You're going to view the world from the perspective of somebody that's been complimented on that thing, right? Let's say somebody compliments you for your social skills. Well, you're going to get better and better and better at social skills because that compliment will be accepted into your mind, into your subconscious mind. So through our speech, not only can we positively or negatively affect the lives of ourselves or of other people, but also of ourselves. So this is super, super important. What are we saying about other people when they're here, when they're not here, right? What are we saying about other people? Because not only if you're saying something negatively about someone else, not only it's just bad for everybody, okay? It's bad for that person. It's bad for yourself. If you speak negatively about another person, you know what happens? You're speaking negatively about yourself to your own subconscious mind. What you wish upon other people, you wish upon yourself. It's an unbreakable law. You can't escape it. Right? If you want God to be patient with you and your mistakes, then be patient with other people's mistakes. Because what you give out comes back to you, sometimes multiplied by 30. So, by controlling our speech, we're able to positively affect the lives of other people. We can build people up, we can lift them up. And whether they're there or not, if we speak negatively about them, that negatively affects you, your own subconscious mind. What you believe about another person, you'll believe about yourself. So if you have a bunch of bad things to say about another person, your subconscious mind can't tell the difference between you talking about them and you talking about yourself. Your own mind will start to feel those things. Right? I've noticed this. The more I speak positively about other people, even if they're not around, the more I feel positively about myself. Why? Because what you give out comes back to you. It's an unbreakable law. It's impossible to sidestep that law. It doesn't matter who you are, how spiritual you think you are, how connected to God you think you are. None of those things matter. You can't escape this law. So, if you want to have a good life, lift people up. Build them up with your speech. Build up your friends, your family. Whether they're here or whether they're not here, speak positively about them. Use kind words. It's not only going to change their life, but it's going to change your life. You're going to feel better about yourself. One of the reasons people feel bad all the time is because they speak ill and think ill of others. And then they wonder why they themselves don't feel good. Well, you're getting back what you gave out. You reap what you sow. That's what Jesus Christ told us in the Holy Bible, that you reap what you sow. So sow good seeds. Plant positive seeds. Speak kindly about other people and yourself. Listen to affirmations, right? Speak truth. Stand for truth. Denounce deception. And through your words, you yourself will influence your life, you'll influence other people's lives, and you're going to live a way better life because you control your speech. But most people don't want to be disciplined. So they just think, oh, well, that law works for other people, but it doesn't work for me. I can just sidestep this law and I'll be okay. No, your suffering is caused by ignoring this law. You're ignoring this law. And when you ignore this law, it doesn't ignore you. It doesn't matter. God is no respecter of persons. He doesn't care whether you believe the law exists or not. He doesn't care because he's not going to change it. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. So, it doesn't matter if you believe it's a real law or not. It is a real law. And you reap what you sow. So control your speech. And this also all applies to your thinking as well. Okay, so under speech we have kind speech, right? You need to be kind to other people. God didn't put us on this earth to tear people down. He put us on this earth to lift them up. Yes, sometimes you may need to rebuke or reprove, depending on the situation. bad habits or bad, right? You may need to rebuke people, but that's love, right? Love, God disciplines those whom he loves. And we ourselves too, if we love somebody, maybe we need to rebuke, maybe we need to speak out and not stay silent. But at the same time, we need to be lifting people up with our speech. And when we rebuke, it's always in love. It's always out of kindness. It's always out of love for that person. It's never just, okay, I want to rebuke this person because I'm mad at them. That's not what Jesus Christ would do. So kind speech is heavily, heavily associated with your body being a temple of God, because what you put out comes back to you. And it's impossible to avoid that. Also, helpful speech. Are you being helpful to other people? You know, if you're about to say something, ask yourself, is this going to be helpful? Or am I just saying it because I need to say something? Or because I'm having a conversation and this conversation's exciting, and so now I'm just going to start speaking because it feels good. No, control yourself. Because helpful speech is the only speech that should ever be spoken. You should never say anything if it isn't helpful. Even jokes are helpful, right? Because it's good humor. But if something's just a waste of your speech, don't say it. Hold your tongue. And a lot of times, speaking less is speaking more. So we have this idea that we need to speak more and more and more, and we're going to get more results as a result of that speech. But sometimes you need to speak less. And then that's what's actually going to lead to a positive conversation with another person, is by not speaking, by not talking, and by letting the other person talk. So yeah, if it's not helpful, don't say it. If it's not kind, don't say it. If you're going to be rude to somebody, zip your mouth. Don't say it. And not only for that other person and their reputation and their feelings, but yourself. Even if you want to be purely selfish about it, the things that you say about other people, you yourself can't tell the difference. Not only your subconscious mind, but their spiritual laws, even beyond just your subconscious mind. And if you're talking ill about another person, you're talking ill about yourself. Your mind can't tell the difference. And on the spiritual planes, there is no difference. Okay? So the other thing is no speech. Right? Sometimes, this is what I was talking about just a second ago. Sometimes you just need to zip your mouth, you know? Sometimes you just need to shut your mouth and let silence speak, right? Leonardo da Vinci said, nothing increases authority so much as silence. So sometimes you just need to stop talking and let silence speak for you. And then last but not least is truth, right? Are you speaking truth? Are you speaking things that are actually true? Are you telling lies? Are you telling the truth? Or maybe you think that reality works a certain way. Maybe you think the earth is flat. And so you're always telling people, oh, you guys, the earth is flat. Well, that's not true. The earth is not flat. So don't speak things that aren't true. And everybody makes mistakes, not like everybody has a perfect knowledge of all things. But don't say something if it isn't true. Especially if it's just your ego that wants to say it because you think you're right, even though deep down you know you're not. Okay, let it go. Admit you're wrong. Speak things that are true. And just stop wasting your speech on falsehood. Speak truth. Don't lie and speak truth. So that's under speech. Kind speech, helpful speech, no speech, and truth. Okay, so are you speaking truth? Are you being silent when you need to be silent? Are you being helpful when you speak? And are you being kind? And if you can't pass through the kindness and the helpful filter, then you need to go to the silence. Right? So if what you're about to say doesn't pass through the kindness and it doesn't pass through the helpfulness filter, zip your mouth and don't say it. Okay? All right. This stuff is super, super important. People need to know this stuff in today's world. We live in a world where people really, really, really need to know this stuff because it's becoming more and more common for people not to care about these things. We used to live in a world where people were very self-disciplined with their speech, with their thoughts. They cared about this kind of stuff. And now it's becoming more common just to impulsively say whatever you want, to not think about these things. Okay, the other one is action. So, are you choosing to do good things with your body? If your body is a temple of God, then your actions speak very loudly. So, what you're doing with yourself each and every day, are you serving other people? Are you doing things that are helpful with your body? Just like how speech, is it kind? Is it helpful? Also with your body, are you using your body to do kind things, helpful things to yourself and others? That's a filter that you should run your choices through. Your actions, are you about to do this action or that action? Run it through the filter of, is it helpful? Is it kind? And if it doesn't pass those two filters, don't do it. Because in God there is no darkness at all. And if your body is the temple of God, don't do anything that brings darkness into you. If you love God, keep His commandments. And nobody's perfect. We all fall short of the glory of God. But that doesn't mean you should give up. It means instead you should have even more acceptance of your mistakes, more forgiveness of your mistakes and other people's, but also a desire for more self-discipline, for more accuracy on these things. So your actions change your life. And your actions include exercise. Are you exercising your body? Because if you're not exercising your body, then you're probably not taking care of this gift that God gave you. Not everybody can exercise. Some people have physical disabilities that make it really hard for them to exercise, like wheelchair or whatever, right? There's exceptions to these rules, most of these rules, or some of them at least, but exercise is one of them that, like, if you can do it, you should do it because it's good for you. You're taking care of your body. It's a temple. You're going to feel better if you do it. So exercise is a huge one. Eating healthy is another big one, right? Healthy eating. Because people sometimes forget, again, that their body is a temple of God. And in order for God's Spirit to be working in you, you need to be taking care of it. And if you're eating junk food all the time, you're driving the Spirit away. It's that simple. There's nothing, there's really not, you're affecting your ability to connect with God's Spirit. It doesn't completely drive God's Spirit away, obviously, but you're affecting your ability to connect with God's Spirit by doing that. So eat healthy food. The other thing is, like I said, under actions, service. Are you serving other people with your body? Are you Are you helping people do, maybe it snowed and you've got this old grandma that lives next door? Are you taking some time to grab the snow shovel and go shovel her driveway just because you want to? These are the questions you have to ask yourself. If you want to be close to God's Spirit, serve people. I don't know any other better way to do it other than loving God and keeping his commandments. But those 6 of the 12 commandments have to do with how you treat other people. And the other ones are don't have idols and love God. Right? Basically, can you love God with all of your heart? Can you have no other God before him? And how do you treat other people? So keep the commandments of God, but also serve people. Service is the greatest way to glorify God. And even if you struggle with a bunch of sins, like you have a hard time keeping God's commandments, if you're loving your neighbor and you're serving your neighbor, those sins are going to start to fall away. Because love covers a multitude of sins. That's what it says in the Holy Bible. So through that process of loving people, it actually covers those sins and they start to get removed, plucked from your life through the power of love. So service is really powerful. The other thing is purpose, right? If you're doing stuff with your body, do you have a purpose? Do you have something bigger than you that you're living for? Because if you don't have a purpose in life, then the actions that you're taking on a regular basis are going to be kind of random, right? You don't know what you're doing or why you're doing it. So you need to have a central purpose in your life, a central goal that you set for yourself. And that purpose is going to lead into everything else that you do. It's going to add vitality, life, and vibrancy into what you do. So have purpose. It will change your life, I promise you that. Have a strong purpose and stick to it. And when everything else tells you to stop, and when resistance starts, keep going. Because if that purpose was given to you by God, you need to keep pressing forward in that thing. So yeah, have purpose. Okay, almost running out of battery, so I might have to change the battery here in a second. But yeah, you guys, these are things that you need to be thinking about if you want to live a happy, joy-filled life, which I do. I love being happy and being filled with joy. It sucks to be sad, right? It sucks to feel unsettled. It sucks to feel like you wonder what's going wrong, if there's something wrong with you. Nothing wrong with you personally, but maybe your choices are leading to suffering. Inside of you, God put inside of you his Spirit. So you're a child of God. There's nothing wrong with you. But maybe your actions, maybe your choices are causing suffering. So you need to eliminate that so you live a happier life, a more joy-filled life. Because that's really the purpose of life, is to experience joy. Okay. All right, so the last one for today, and then I gotta go, is hearing. So what are you choosing to listen to? Right? Like under speech, under hearing, we also have words have power. So that's very connected to speech, because what you're saying about other people, right? Words have power, but what are you listening to? What kind of environments are you placing yourself in? Are you listening to kind words? Are you around people and things that speak positively, that lift other people up? Because that is going to be imprinted into your subconscious mind. So you want to listen to good things, right? Listen to affirmations. It only takes 5-10 minutes every night to listen to affirmations. It changes your life. I promise you it does. So what are you hearing with your ears? What environment are you choosing to put yourself in? Your body is a temple. What you hear with your ear, you can choose. In a lot of cases, you can choose what you're hearing. There's select few cases where you might be stuck in a situation where you have to hear things you don't want to, but the majority of the time you can control what environment you're in and what you're hearing. So do it. Control it, right? choose to be around people that speak positively, that speak truth, that edify each other. So words have power. In the Bible, it says that death and life are in the power of the tongue. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. So we need to be very careful, like I said, what we're saying earlier under speech, but also what we're hearing, because other people can speak too. So be very careful what you choose to surround yourself with on a regular basis. Okay, words have power. Stillness and silence. So, a lot of people want to experience stillness and they want to experience peace and they don't know where to get it, and a lot of times it's because they haven't cultivated it. They haven't cultivated stillness, right? Well, one of the best ways to cultivate stillness is to tune out from distractions. Go somewhere where it's quiet. In nature, I do float pods, sensory deprivation. It's an hour long. Sometimes I do longer. It's perfect silence. I've had some of the most profound revelations in my entire life inside of a float pod in pure silence. So stillness is powerful. What you're hearing can also be what you're not hearing. Sometimes you just need silence, right? So stillness and silence. That's powerful, okay? It's going to change your life to increase the amount of stillness that you experience on a regular basis. Okay, and last but not least, rejecting falsehood. Now, I'm not talking always about speaking out against it. Sometimes you do need to. Sometimes you need to speak out against falsehood. But sometimes you just need to walk away, right? Sometimes you just need to reject it and walk away. And by doing that, what you're actually able to do is not expose yourself to falsehood. Because the more you expose yourself to things that aren't true, the more you're going to believe them. So only accept those things that are true. How do you do that? Well, control what you're hearing. Control where you are, the places you put yourself. You can control that. That's up to you to control. That's in your hands. So if you control what you're hearing and you reject falsehood by not associating with it, by not being around it, by not listening to it, you're putting yourself in a place where truth will abide in you. And that's the most important thing. You need the truth abiding in you and working in you. Because that's where you're going to experience the most joy, the most success, the most peace, and you're going to experience what it's like to have this temple, this body that we've been given by God, working at its optimal potential, at its full potential. And that comes from controlling what you're thinking, what you're saying, what you're doing, and what you're hearing. So that's today's video. I hope you guys learned something, found it valuable. Like I said, control your thoughts, control your speech, control your actions, and choose to listen to good things, or at least to be in stillness, so you're not listening to bad things. Hope that was helpful for you guys. I love you. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune into today's video, and I look forward to seeing you guys in future videos. As always, peace be unto you.